Welcome to this edition of Inside the Cardinal Playbook with Coach Kruse. We're going to talk a little bit about last week's ball game against Indy, and then we're going to talk about this coming week when we play Quincy over in Illinois. So, Coach, let's start off a little bit with the Indy game. We talked about it. I know you really didn't play at the level that you really wanted to play at. I know you were disappointed, but you also had a lot of injuries. Of course, we don't make any excuses around there, particularly you. But, you know, looking at some positives in the ball game, I felt like we moved the ball. Had a real nice drive there when we did kick the field goal against a pretty good defense. A lot of people don't realize they only allowed one rushing touchdown all year long. So you want to talk about that. Was a good defense.
They've only allowed one touchdown in conference play, and I think they're averaging. I think they're giving up 4.5 a game in conference play, so it's a really good defense.
Right.
You know, they're top 20 in the country, and they're not just good on defense, but they're good all the way around, and we found that out on Saturday.
Well, their backup quarterback is what I was impressed with. Come to find out when the official stats, and you probably are more on top of it because I haven't seen you since Saturday night. Well, I said he was 19 for 19, but he ended up 19 for 20.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, you know, they did a lot. They've been really smart with him, you know, bringing him along in the throws that they're asking him to make.
Right.
A lot of them probably, I would say, you know, 75 to 80% of the throws were pick up and throw it to a guy in the flat right now. Were, you know, off of run action and some other things. And then he did make three nice throws down the field and to a really good receiver that's got some length. And he made a nice play on the ball and scored a couple touchdowns that way. And you know, he's, you know, I joking with their coach, you know, I don't know why he was the backup. You know, the other one last year I know was the first team all-conference player, the one that got hurt.
I got the chance to interview him at the conference meeting. He was a good player.
But I'm not sure this one's not better.
Well, he throws the ball on the fade. Talk back to the fade. You know, a lot of people, talking to some of the people there at the coaches show after the ball game, you know, the fade pattern is a very basic play that everybody sees all the time, continuously, on Sundays, on Fridays, and on Saturdays. And, you know, when you got somebody that's 5'10", another kid's 6'3", it's a jump ball.
Yeah, it's a matchup play.
Exactly.
And you use it a lot in the red zone and especially, but other parts of the field as well. When you feel like you have that, you know, that mismatch, and it's not always an athletic mismatch. A lot of times it's a length mismatch. And you know, unfortunately, that was the mismatch we had on Saturday. Was the length part of it with 6'3" or 6'4" against, you know, 5'10", and the quarterback. The important thing is you got to keep the ball up.
Yeah.
To give that guy who has length the advantage to the ability to use his length. And you know, our defensive back Jack played the play about as well as you can play it in man coverage.
But he was 5 inches too short to get there.
When he went up to get the ball, and the receiver went up to get the ball, you know, it was 4 inches above his hands, and so. You know, it's one of those plays you call it. That's an earned play by them, and you know, they did a nice job of executing those things versus the matchup.
Let's talk about our front seven as far as growth's concerned, because that's the youngest part of our team right now on defense. Our front seven. At times, I see a definite improvement, and other times I see that the inexperience.
Yeah.
Don't you look at both?
Yeah, you know, we've been looking at both for a while now, and
I understand that.
That's the frustrating part of it, and you know, it's trying to figure out how to get them through that growth curve faster than probably what's possible, but you know, that's still what we're striving for. And you know, those guys are working hard at it. It's not that they want to do some of those things. You know, it's just youth and inexperience sometimes lends to some bad stuff happening, and we've got to continue to decrease the chances and the times when those bad things do happen.
Well, you know, like I always talk about, and we talked about this on last show we did, you know, 18, 19, 20-year-old guys against 21, 22, 23-year-old guys. You know, Rick brought up a good point during the course of the game, Jerod, that, you know, really we looked at it, there was a lot of redshirt, you know, 5-year guys playing for them.
Yeah.
And they have a whole bunch stay in the stable coming back out.
Right.
So you're getting a lot of kids that are 5-year redshirts as starters on both offense and defense for some of the schools that have been established, like Truman State and Indy, for example.
And Faze and, you know, all the other ones that we played that have had that established program at this level of play for a long period of time and had the ability to redshirt. And, you know, there wasn't, you know, at William Jewell, there wasn't, until a couple years ago, there wasn't a redshirt policy.
Right.
There wasn't the ability to, red shirt
That's
and do
huge.
those things. And so that's been something, a big positive for us to be able to get that implemented. Now it's trying to get to the point where we can realize, the good things that come of that.
Well, I tell you what, we'll come back to the next segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and I think next segment, if it's okay with you, Coach, we'll talk a little bit about offense and specialty teams. We had one breakdown on the specialty teams on the punt return, which we'll get to in the next segment, and also we'll talk about DJ and Sean and their situation and rotating those quarterbacks in due to injury.
Right.
Poor Boy Oil Company is and always has been locally owned and operated. We promise convenience and service with small town values. We want you to choose Poor Boy again and again, whether you're looking for a hot cup of coffee to help start your day, grabbing lunch at midday, picking up milk at the end of the day, or heading for a Cardinal game any day. We're here to help you get you on your way quickly. Most stores are open 24 hours, so we're here when you need us. Poor Boy Oil Company. Find us around the Northland, wherever the Cardinals fly.
A world without breast cancer is a world with more birthdays. And signing up for the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk will help us get there faster. The American Cancer Society invests in groundbreaking breast cancer research, and we're part of every community. In fact, 1 in 2 women newly diagnosed with breast cancer turns to us for support. Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org. Together, we can finish the fight against breast cancer.
Welcome back to our second segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we're going to talk a little bit about our play last week against Indy, but we're kind of, in this segment, really kind of zero in offensively and on specialty teams, and talk about maybe some of the changes that we might be looking at, not getting specific, of course. Coach, we both don't want to get specific about any of that kind of stuff. Somebody will pick it up here. But let's start out first with offense. You've had a situation where Sean got hurt, DJ had to come in and play some quarterback. How are you feeling about that situation? Because, like I told DJ, it's a whole different ball of wax when they prepare for you all week.
Yeah, it's a different game when you're the man. You're going to the game knowing that you're going to be the guy, and they've watched you on film for a couple weeks now. And DJ's come in and done some really nice things at times. In some tough situations against some really good competition, and the more reps he gets right now, the more growth that is for him, and the better it is for us as a team going forward. It's always, on the other side of it, it's always nice to have that guy that you've prepared for the last 4 years to stand back there and run your offense as well. And we're hoping, we're continuing to trying to get Sean to a point where he's going to be functional and ready to go. And will we have him this week? I don't know. We're going to continue to work with him this week and see where that gets to. We thought, we were hoping to maybe have him by last week, and that didn't happen. And some of these injury things can be nagging, but I can tell you he wants to get back more than anybody right now, because coming down at the last 4 games of his senior year, after starting as many games as he's started for us here, he's doing everything he can to get back on the field as well.
Well, you talk about it from an offensive philosophy, though, and everybody has to do it. You're right. No matter whether you coach high school, college, or the pros, you're going to have injuries.
Right.
And you have to be able to adjust, and you have to have enough depth in the squad to do that. But you have a unique situation, not unique, but similar to many that have injuries. You have a situation where you have a quarterback that runs first, throws second, and the one that's hurt throws first and runs second. So your philosophy of your team somewhat changes. Your approach changes. Your game plan changes. Your offensive blocking schemes possibly can change. So you're looking at a major, almost like mid-season switch over in a situation like that offensively.
Right, and for us, we always carry on a call sheet, some things for a guy like DJ.
Right.
But it's not the core of what your game plan is going to be for that week. And any time, that's why the last 3 to 4 weeks have been so frustrating with Sean's injury. Is we were never quite sure how long maybe he would be able to continue, and so we were, our call sheet was that much, our game plan had to be that much bigger, from the simple fact that because you don't know which quarterback you're going to end up working with the most for the longest period of the game. And so, those things are part of the business and part of this game and part of game planning. But it would be really nice to go into a game knowing exactly what you're going to have and who you're going to be working with.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's all a part of it. But as a coach, you never know what's going to be around the next corner.
Right, exactly. You're 100% correct, and you got to roll with the punches. Just like as a player, you never know what play is going to be next, and you've got to be able to adjust on the fly and be able to handle whatever situation presents itself.
Well, let's get to specialty teams. And, it was disappointing the week before, I thought, because we've been so consistent in specialty teams. This week, I thought we played extremely well, except for we had the punt return for a touchdown. I thought that was a block in the back. Of course, I could bring it up. You can't because, somebody, if the commissioner, he'll get you, he won't get me. But that was the only breakdown, really, overall. I saw we did a nice job. Punting game was excellent.
Yeah, we had a good day on special teams outside of that play. And whether it was a block in the back or not, during the game, I thought it was too.
Well, I thought that right on when he caught the ball in the initial. I thought it was a block in the back.
And after watching the film, I'll continue to hold my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But they even after the clip or two that happened, we thought that maybe happened on that play. We had one other chance to get the ball on the ground and we didn't. So that was a frustrating thing on that play. But outside of that, I thought we were very solid and good in the special teams area and the return schemes. Kickoff return, we did some good things, and on the punt scheme, we did some good things. So, it was a solid day there.
Yeah, I thought they played really well. Your punter did a great job. Gibson did a great job throughout, and we had a lot of wins.
Right. That that's where we've been pushing Zane to realize what he can be, and he finally came out Saturday and did some really good things again, like we saw him do. The first part of last year when he was just a young freshman, didn't know any better, and was just using his tools, and he kind of got back to that on Saturday, and that was good to see.
Well, we're coming into the season, last 4 games. We've talked about this. You never know. How do you adjust? I think everybody needs to realize that you do kind of divide your season up from the beginning of the year, first couple of games, mid-season, and then at the end. And we are
home stretch, yeah.
We're in the home stretch. We got the last 4. We only have one of those 4 here at home. Yep. You play Quincy, you play Kentucky Wesleyan, you play St. Joseph's, and S&T. And I told the kids at the coaches show, I said, S&T is one I thought we should have gotten a couple times. We haven't. So. Just thinking about your approach as far as the coaching staff looking at these last 4 games, you want to talk about that a little bit?
And how this is, and people will look at the rest of our schedule and those things, but our focus right now has to continue to be on this week's game, because we don't, with the injuries that happen throughout the course of the year and other things and other dynamics that come about, you never know what that next week's game is going to be like anyway.
Right.
And we talk about it. On the post-game show every week on, what's this next team like? And I honestly have to sit there and tell you I haven't seen them on film yet, because I don't start watching the next opponent until the Saturday night after the game we just played, or the Sunday morning after the game we just played. So I know this week we're going to have a pretty big challenge with the team we're facing. And if we get that one, and then we get the next one, and we get now we can start to feel pretty good about maybe how we could end the season if we handle our business on a week-to-week basis.
Don't you think, particularly with the young team at the end of the year, because you got a lot of these guys that'll be coming back playing for you and your staff next year, that could really be a confidence builder and really pump through the off season and that type of thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think right now, as I told our team in our meeting after the game, that for Friday when we leave for Quincy, it needs to be the biggest thing on our schedule, and Saturday when we play, because a win right now would go a long way to healing a lot of pain that we're all feeling right now, and the frustration with our lack of being able to have some success here of late.
You bet. Well, we'll come back and we'll have the last segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we'll talk a little bit with Jerod about I'm going to talk a little bit about recruiting, where you're at right now, because we need to look for next year, and then we'll talk a little bit about the game with Quincy.
Good.
My name is Jesse Limeculer, CEO of Belvoir Winery, 110 years in the making. We provide a unique experience in that it's a historic building. It's 110 years old. We allow people to bring in their own caterers to have a nice formal sit-down meal, or something that's social and very casual. We let them do basically whatever they want as far as their event goes. We have the fountain running and have the gazebo up for all the wedding days and special days out here. I'm Jesse Limekiller, the CEO of Belvoir Winery.
I am a helpful smile.
With local grown and homegrown produce.
What we do is find the best local growers.
We'll contract with the best local growers right down the street from your store. It comes right from the farm to Hy-Vee.
Farmers you know, the people in your communities, we even have signs that tell you which farm it was grown on.
It's pretty much like a farmer's market in here. You can't get any fresher than that unless you pick it yourself.
I am a helpful.
Farm fresh.
Sustainable.
Local.
Homegrown.
Bringing you the freshest produce smile.
And that's my promise.
Foreclosure, repossession, garnishment. Costello and Farah can fight for you.
Are creditors threatening to take your property or your money? My office has helped thousands of people in the Kansas City area protect their assets through debt reorganization or bankruptcy protection. Call my office at 816-505-HELP and see if we can help you protect your assets and get you back on your feet.
The attorneys of Costello and Farah, lawyers who will fight for you. Call 816-505-HELP today.
Welcome to Inside the Cardinal Playbook. This segment's going to be kind of centered totally on golf, and we've got the director. You notice I didn't say coach, but the director of golf here at Williamsville College, Bob Cole. And Bob, I want you to talk a little bit about your team. And a lot of people don't understand how golf works. You have a fall season, spring season. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to be here. Golf it's very, a little complex in that historically with high school, women play one season and the men play another season. Typically the women play in the fall and the women play in the spring. Women in the fall, men in the spring. But in college, you play both a fall, which is called a non-conference or championship season, and then you have the spring, which is the championship season. But both men and women play in both. We typically play anywhere from 4 to 6 events in the fall, and we'll play again 4 to 6 events in the spring. We tend to focus on more regional events for the men, and they do that to make sure that you're ranked within your region. We're in the Midwest region for golf, and so they want to make sure that your ranking is worthy of how you're playing and that you're playing good competition. So you have to play on the men's side. You have to play at least 3 of those regional events, and most of those are in our conference, and the other conferences, the GLIAC and the GMAC, and the same for the women, except for we don't have to play as many of the teams. Only 25% of our competition has to be against the region, but you still have to play a good number of rounds against Division II competition, and it's very competitive. Our conference is extremely tough, and so we play both seasons, and we have a limited number of days in the fall that we can practice and play. But then typically after about January 10th, we can play. They're mine. I can have them for all day, all night, barring they have to go to class. But I can have them for as much as I want, as much practice as we need, and then we start to work in some of the tournaments.
Well, that's good. A lot of people really don't understand. I love golf, play it every day just about now that I'm retired. It's a great game, as you well know. But you do have to be, instead of a coach, a director, because there's a lot of things you've got to do. Let's talk a little bit about our conference. It's one of the better golf conferences, Division II in the country. Why don't you talk about that? Why don't you talk about where the conference championships will be held this spring? And again, both of them will be in the spring, right?
Yes. Both will be towards the end of April. The men play at Otter Creek in Columbus, Indiana, and then the women play at a golf course called Ambrier, which is in Waterloo, Illinois. The conference itself, the GLVC, is extremely difficult. The UMSL on the men's side, they're ranked in the top 5 in the country. We just finished the tournament with the men, and they finished.
They're tough consistently.
They are. They're very good. The competition from Jury, UND, McKendree is good. Parkside, all the schools seem to have good competition from top to bottom, and William Jewell's no exception. We're in a position that we're doing better. We're making good strides in terms of where we're going. Especially I think on the men's side, the men have placed in the fall. They finished first in 2 events and finished in the top 5 in another, and then they finished in a very difficult regional event. They finished 10th out of 23 teams, and so it's gone extremely well. And then on the women's side, again, we will play in the conference championship in the spring. For the women, the conference it's no different than the men. Extremely difficult. UND tends to be the team that's typically at the top. They're very good from top to bottom. All 5 of their players that go to tournaments they're well coached. They play well, And it's a good example where we want to be. We want to be able to compete, and we are competing. The women have been good. And have been competing the last 2 years very well, and I can't say enough how hard they've worked and what they're doing, and we're competing well, and we're actually getting the recognition that we deserve, and I'm proud of both of the teams.
And before we talk about some of the individuals on both squads, really there's a lot of listeners and alumni out there that probably don't understand how you score. You really talk about the 5 golfers and how you combine score and stuff.
Most of the events are set up that we play. We take 5 individuals, and then what happens is we count the 4 scores, the 4 best scores. But we also can take individuals to these events as well. Most of the teams, again, credit to our conference and our teams, we tend to have, most of our players are pretty good players, so we want to give them the opportunity to play as well. So in addition to the 5, we may take 2 or 3, maybe all the players, and see how well they can compete, because the team can get a ranking as a team. Also, players can individually. So, but most of the time, depending on the complexity of the event, we're taking at least 5. The men's tournaments tend to be where you can only take 5 because they're regional events. That's going to change next year for the women. So it's going to get closer to where we're just taking 5 to 6 players.
Real quickly, we're running out of time here in this segment. I hate that because I love golf.
I understand.
When you get old, that becomes your game because you can't do hardly anything else.
Game you can play forever.
Yeah, you can play forever. That's a great thing about it. Why don't you real quickly mention a few names on both squads?
Well, our class, the first class I've had are seniors on the women's side. Chelsea Williamson, Brittany Dillon, Taylor Weibel. I can't say much what they meant to our program and the standard they've set. So they continue to do well, and they're going to definitely leave a good legacy behind. On the men's side, Grant McNeely's a senior. He's worked well, and I'm really proud of what he's done. We've had some other players, Derek Peterson and Connor O'Neill and Hugo Mendoza, Logan Routh. They're all in that. And Grant Jansen, they're in that second phase. And then we have a new player, Tom Boylan, who came from Blue Valley, who's a very good player, came out of the Blue Valley School. And then we were blessed to stumble onto a couple junior college transfers, one from Ireland in Sean Cleary, and then another one that came from Iowa, Mitch Jacoby. They both came from Kirkwood Community College, both very good players, and they've helped to solidify that team. And so we're very happy that they're here. And again, all the players have done well. It's unfortunate you don't have enough time to mention everybody, but our seniors, I'm very happy with them, and on the women's side, and then just the men's players as a whole, the whole units come together, and their efforts are definitely shown in the results.
Well, Coach, we're going to have to hook up and play a little bit.
Absolutely, I'd enjoy it.
My alley. Yeah,
absolutely.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
I know it's really a lot of work. People
don't
really realize how much work it is. Golf takes a lot of time. I don't know if there's a bigger sport that you have to have more of a skill level than golf, and I know you agree with me. So good luck. Yeah. Keep working those kids hard, and good luck in the conference, and hopefully they'll be able to advance on in the playoffs. That'll end this segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we'll come back with Coach Kruse in the last segment here in just a second.
What should we do?
Better call our shelter agent.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, you got a sec?
Yeah, sure.
We know what the weather is like in your area because we live in your area. Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Shelter Agent Kimberly Sidden about Shelter's competitive insurance rates.
Tanner's is new to Liberty, just south of the Highway 152 and I-35 intersection. They're open Sunday through Tuesday from 11 a.m. until midnight and Wednesday through Saturday from 11 until 1:30 a.m. Come in any day for food specials in the spacious dining area. Happy hour specials are served from 2 spots in the building, and the service is fast and friendly. Tanner's of Liberty, just south of the Highway 152 and I-35 intersection.
Cardinal fans, welcome back to the last edition of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we'll talk a little bit about Recruiting, a lot of people don't know. We've still got 4 games left in the season, but recruiting is an all-year process that continues. And talk a little bit about your red shirts. You have a bunch of them, and then we'll visit a little bit about the future.
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier about the process of now being able to redshirt players and how that, it's kind of become the norm in college football at a lot of levels, is that you can, from a maturity standpoint, both physically, emotionally, and mentally, you can get those guys an extra year in your program, and those are the guys we're playing against right now. With some opponents we're playing, or most of the opponents we're playing, are fourth-year juniors and fifth-year seniors, and we're slowly working our way towards that. We started redshirting players a couple years ago, and so those guys right now are redshirt sophomores. And we have some we're playing some redshirt.
About how many do you have? Off the top.
This year, last year I think we redshirted about 28, 29. The year before, we redshirted about 22. This year, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of about 25 or so, 24, 25 that we're redshirting. And the goal is that, when those guys get to be redshirt juniors and redshirt seniors.
Like I've been talking about.
Right. Those are who you want to be playing with from the standpoint of, from a physical maturity standpoint.
They're men.
Yeah, those are the teams, that we're playing right now that are faring very well, or guys or teams that are playing with guys like that. And a lot of things happen in that extra year, and so we're working towards that. And it's nice to be able to start having started to do that a couple years ago, and can't wait to get to the point where we're playing with those 4th and 5th year juniors and seniors as well.
What about just the recruiting process, though, having kids come in and keep visiting and that type of thing?
Yeah, the process really starts for us at this level, as soon as signing day happens, you're already working towards next year's class, and those young men are juniors at the time. So we've been working into this since maybe last February or so, and then there's some spring recruiting in April and May, and different camp things you go, and some stuff during the summer, and right now it's getting out on Friday nights and watching high school games and some local guys, and then communicating via phone and some other means of communication with some other guys across the country. And as we start to, get to a contact period here on December 1st and be able to get back into schools and actually sit down with those young men individually and start the visit process in January and all of that stuff leading up to signing date, which is the first Wednesday in February.
A lot of people don't realize, too, the academic standards here at Williams Hill obviously are very high. They're well known for their academics. It's, what they hang their hat on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different in some respects that you have to go for a special type of kid.
Right. It's a lot different in some respects than other places I've been, and other people that I know in our profession that go out and are trying to do the same things we are. We have to take a little different approach to it because of the academic situation that we possess here, and we look at it as a positive.
Oh, absolutely.
That we get to recruit a
That's
player.
That's the object.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, there's some good things that we think we have to offer here from an academic standpoint as well, and that's something we've done very well. We've last year, with the first year of this being the GLVC being a football conference, we had the #1 GPA in the conference as a football team, and so that's something that you're excited about, and we'd like to be able to start to match that up with the wins as well, because we think when that happens, you're getting the best of both worlds, and yeah, that's what you're striving for.
So hopefully the Cardinal fans will continue to follow us in Quincy. That'll be a 1 o'clock start. Again, a conference game, one that we're looking forward to playing, and hopefully everybody will be able to be there and show up and really show that Cardinal pride come Saturday. I'm looking forward to the ball game. I know it's going to be a little bit of a trip, Coach. What time you guys going to leave Friday?
We're going to leave Friday afternoon and get a few.
Kids kind of like that.
Yeah, get a few things done while we're here. This one is a short trip for us compared to a lot of the other ones throughout the year. So it'll be. And this about me. I like being on the road, and for whatever reason,
you can finally sleep
it's
for
quiet,
at least 5 hours.
Yeah, right? There's a lot of things about it, and we're all together in the same environment, and a lot of camaraderie happens on the road. Just a lot of good things, and so
those are the memories you have when you're on the team.
Absolutely.
Well, that'll do or finish this time inside the Cardinal Playbook. Hopefully all the Cardinal fans will be out there Saturday at 1 o'clock at Quincy, and we'll see you then.